Now there's human living for you. That's what life is all about. That can only come from awareness. And in awareness, as I shall explain as we go along, you will understand that honor doesn't mean a thing. It doesn't. It's a social convention. That's all. And so the prophets didn't bother one bit about it. Honor, disgrace, meant nothing to them. They were living in another world, in the world of the awakened. Success, failure, meant nothing to them. Kind of, I'm an ass, you're an ass, so where's the problem? Somebody said, I think it was a man called Sidney Harris. I recollect reading, he said, the three most difficult things that a human being can do are not physical feats or intellectual achievements. They are, first, returning love for hate. Second, including the excluded. And third, admitting that you are wrong. My, easy as pie, easiest thing in the world, easiest thing in the world. If you haven't identified with me, what's the problem? Yeah, I'm wrong. If you knew me better, my God, you'd see how often I'm wrong. What would you expect from an ass? But I haven't identified with him, see? I is not this. So you cannot hurt me. Can you imagine that? Initially, the old conditioned me will react, and you'll be depressed, and you'll be anxious, and you will grieve, and you will cry, etc. Before enlightenment, I used to be depressed. After enlightenment, I continue to be depressed. But there's a difference. I don't identify with it anymore. You know what a big difference that is? Do you know what it means? I'll say this slowly. Do you know what it means to step outside of yourself and look at that depression and not identify with it and not do a thing to make it go away, and to be perfectly willing to go on with your life while it passes through you and disappears? My, if you don't know what that means, you really have something to look forward to. And the anxiety, there it comes. And you're not troubled. How strange. You're anxious and you're not troubled? Isn't that strange? Isn't that a paradox? And you're willing to let this cloud come in, because the more you fight it, the more power you give it. And you're willing to observe it as it passes by. Do you know something? You can be happy in your anxiety. Isn't that crazy? And you can be happy in your depression. It's just that you got the wrong notion of happiness. You thought happiness was excitement. You thought happiness was thrills. You know something? That's what causes the depressions. Didn't anyone tell you that? You're thrilled. All right, you're preparing the way for your next depression. You're thrilled. Have you picked up the anxiety behind that? How could I make that last? Somebody said that yesterday evening. How can I make it last? That's not happiness. That's thrills. That's kicks. That's addiction. That's drugs. Talk about the drug addict. My, I've got something to show you. I wonder how many non-addicts there are in this hall tonight. If you're anything like the average group, very few. Very few. Don't look superiorly down your nose at the alcoholic and the drug addict. Maybe you're just as addicted as he or she is. The first time, I'm becoming personal. The first time I got a glimpse of this world, it was terrifying. Terrifying. To understand what it meant to live alone, to have nowhere to rest your head, but nowhere, to leave everyone free, and to be free yourself, to be special to no one, to love everyone, because love does that. It shines on good and bad alike. And it makes its rain to fall on saints and sinners alike. No difference. Like the rose. Is it possible for the rose to say, I will give my fragrance to the good people who smell me, and I will withhold it from the bad? Or like a lamp, is it possible for the lamp to say, I shall give my light to the good people in this room and withhold my light from the evil people? Or like a tree, can a tree say, I'll give my shade to the good people who rest in my shade and withhold my shade from the bad? There are images of what love is all about, but I told you, we don't really know what love is. But it's right there, staring us in the face, in the scriptures. We never cared to see it, because we were so drowned in what our culture calls love, in its love songs and its poems. That isn't love at all. That's the opposite of love. That's desire. That's control. That's possessiveness. That's manipulation. That's fear. That's anxiety. That's not love. And we were told that happiness lies in thrills. It's so painful. It really is so painful to watch those commercials. Happiness is a smooth complexion, a holiday resort. But you know that already. You know that already, or you wouldn't be here. You know it isn't these things. But then we have other subtle ways of making our happiness depend on other things, both within us and outside of us. I refuse to be happy until my neurosis goes. How about that one? I got good news for you. You can be happy right now with the neurosis. Yes, sir. You want even better news? There's only one reason why you are not experiencing what in India we call anand. We have a special word for happiness, for this kind of happiness. It's called anand, bliss. Bliss. There's only one reason why you are not experiencing bliss, this present moment. And it is because you're thinking or you're focusing on what you don't have. Or else you would experience bliss. You're focusing on what you don't have. Right now, you have everything you need to be in happiness, bliss, anand, right now. Jesus was talking horse sense. He was talking to lay people, to married people, to third world people, to starving people, to poor people. He's telling them, good news, it's yours for the taking. Ready for it? Here goes. But who listened? No one's interested. They'd rather be asleep.